flood situation in Assam worsened over the past 24 hours, leaving 52 people dead and several thousands of people homeless. Over 24 lakh people have been affected across the state, as 30 out of the state's 35 districts remain severely affected in the second wave of the floods facing the state. The situation has remained grim over the past 1 month, leading to loss of life and damaging infrastructure, besides causing crop destruction and loss of livestock. Thousands remain internally displaced and homeless across the northeastern state. River erosion and floods are major issues in Assam's Barpeta district. Nearly 140,000 people are affected, and 179 villages have been submerged, in addition to crop losses at around 1,571.5 hectares of crop area. Another worst hit district is Dhubri, where 775,000 people have been affected. Floodwaters have submerged about 63,491 hectares of crop area, and 3,518 villages across 112 revenue circles are affected. The Brahmaputra River's water level is above the danger mark at the Nimti Ghat, Guwahati, Golpara and Dhubri. And according to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, as this is yet another year of people of Assam suffering, the only question that surfaces is why is this happening, and who will rise from all the political bickering and polity to come up with a long-lasting solution. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the program at this point in time is Pradeep Pujari, retired water resource engineer, Mr. Murray Shashidhar Reddy, former Vice Chairman of the NDMA, Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar, former DIG NDRF, also with us on the broadcast, Mr. Krishna Mithru, Consultant to Disaster Management, also with us on the program. Mr. Mithru, I'll begin with you, sir. A very good evening and thank you for speaking to us. Well, sir, of course, we are talking about Assam right now. But in my mind and in the minds of people who are accustomed to seeing this kind of a pattern of weather and nature every year, it's become deja vu. But the fact of the matter is this deja vu is not really percolating down to the administration or the authorities coming up with a solution which is going to be long lasting. It seems that we are also going to talk about this today. This is going to resonate, have some ripple effect in a number of circles for the next few days and then die down. But the word that we're looking for is permanent solution to this problem, because most of these people who are affected by these floods are of no fault of their own. It's nature's fury. It needs to be tackled, because this is not the only state or the place in the world which is, dealt such a hard hand by nature. But yet there are parts of the world that come out of it. What's going on over here, and what should the government do to fix it?
Thank you for taking me on the channel. The first thing I would say is that of late we have seen that weather change, the climate change has really affected not only India, but a lot of other places in the world also. I'll give you a simple example of Dubai. It was a case of unprecedented floods over there. Of course, the fault over there was no drainage, and that's how the whole Dubai got flooded. Now, the same thing, if we convert it to our scenario, the basic problem lies in a lack of civic maintenance. The drainage is not there in the cities. And if you talk of rivers, in the rivers, there is no dredging. Because there is no dredging, therefore, the silt keeps collecting on the river beds, and the the water obviously has to flow through, and the level keeps rising. Therefore, the flooding. My pure understanding to the whole problem is that all our civic services, be it water, be it electricity, be it sewage, be it anything, we lack in their maintenance, and that is the root cause of our perpetual flooding, or call it the drought kind of a thing, or what have you. Maintenance is lacking in the whole country. This is what is my understanding.
Mr. Pradeep Pujari, are you there with us, sir? Mr. Pradeep, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
So
Am I audible?
your assessment of the situation. Well, we're not going to talk about the capital or other parts of the country that continue to get flooded. We're talking about Assam right now, a state which year on year has had to deal with the fury of nature, but there doesn't seem to be a respite or a light at the end of the tunnel. Where do you think the situation or this predicament is going, especially for the people who have not only lost their lives, but are perhaps, debilitated in terms of their health, their incomes, and their prospects as well?
Actually, I must say that the flood in Assam and Brahmaputra Valley is a unique problem. Actually, if you see, the whole of the Assam Brahmaputra Valley is like a bowl. A huge amount of water that is flowing from the Arunachal hills, Meghalaya hills, Nagaland hills, that subsequently from even China, that Brahmaputra is coming, Siang is coming. So problem is that the whole of the huge water flow that enters Assam, and this Assam Valley is only around 60 to 50 kilometers in width from hill to hill. So it's like a bowl-like situation. So whole of the water, along with the huge amount of silt that comes to the Brahmaputra River, and subsequently the tributaries also carries so much of water and silt loaded with silt. So everything is pounded in Assam only. That's why the situation is going worse day by day. Because in Assam, if we assess that so far what the flood control measures we have, that is only immediate and short-term measures. Immediate means just disaster management activities, relief and rehabilitation. Then short-term means your embankments, sluices, and protection works like that. But the permanent solution of flood, that is a very huge problem, and that is a very huge topic to be discussed in case of Assam, because without having permanent solution measures, we cannot expect that flood will be controlled up to 100 and 1,000 shades or so much of it, but it will not be come lower, and always the people of Assam will suffer from that flood. And particularly, I am telling that there are a lot of studies were there. The studies were made by Brahmaputra Board, a central government agency that time established for tackle the flood and erosion problem of Brahmaputra Valley. There are so many other task forces, and once in 1983 there was the Indo-Bangla Joint River Commission. Every committee has studied the thing and studied the prospects, and unanimous that solution they have suggested was to create some water detention and silt detention reservoirs in the upstream of the Brahmaputra and other tributaries. Brahmaputra means Siang, then Dibang, Lohit, Subansiri. Then we have to erect some reservoirs, multi-purpose reservoirs, mainly for flood control, then with substantial benefit like electricity, irrigation, and something more and more. So that is the only way to trap the huge amount of water and silt coming to the Brahmaputra Valley, and by that way only we can think of flood control in long run. I am not talking about short-term measures. Short-term measures definitely we require. So embankment must be there. This must be there. Protection works must be there. So that's why we feel that this is the high time that along with the immediate and short-term measures, the government and other stakeholders, other agencies should think that this problem to be tackled for long term. That's my opinion, sir.
Mr. Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar, so the long-term solutions, of course, can be discussed here. But let's also talk about the challenges that prevent some of these long-term solutions to be implemented, since you are a part of were a part of the NDRF.
Yeah, definitely. It's not 1 or 2 days case. It's a long happened case. In long back also, go to the history, that every year we are facing this same problem. And we have given so many suggestions to the state government through NDMA. And also directly as and when we used to go there for this rescue operation, so we have a good amount of discussion with the authorities. So in this case, we can say that as our other fellows are saying, that some long solution is required. Some concrete solution is required, definitely, because it's not 1 or 2 days case. So anyhow, there was a planning with the government, central government, to make the water, to divert the water in different area where is it needed. So I think shortly they are going to implement, because now the situation is worse. It is nothing, but in the coming days, it may also happen, or situation will go in the worst condition, because as and when China will throw the water, they will open the gate of their dam. So definitely maximum water will come to the Brahmaputra, and through that Assam, Bihar, and other these connecting area will be badly affected. So anyhow, we being a part of the NDRF, so we are ready to rescue the people, animal, and the other life also. So we are ready with our teams. We have already deployed the teams as and when it's required. So anyhow, and we have given enough training to the affected area people, and to evacuate the people to the safer places with all the amenities which they require. So we are doing this at our own level, and but the government, my intention is to say with the state government and central government to have a good amount of this coordination, and to think over the planning, the perfect planning of water management. Because in this area, water management, I have already spoken this thing on other channels also, not this year, in previous years also. But nobody is taking care. Now we are worried about it, and I think this time is the best time where all the governments will take care about it, because water is a important aspect, is an important thing which we will have to utilize in a perfect and proper manner. Yeah, please.
Mr. Reddy, in fact, the levels of the Brahmaputra are also rising. Thousands and thousands of hectares of farmland have also been inundated, and if these levels continue to rise, the situation is going to become unmanageable, is what we are learning and reading, because of this extremely heavy rain. And this is not happening in isolated places. The large part of the state of Assam is covered at this point in time. What do you reckon the government do at this point in time? Chief ministers reviewing the situation from choppers is very, very different from the people who are bracing this kind of an impact and this kind of a challenge on the ground, sir.
Well, these are the challenges that we have been facing over the years. It's getting worse by the year. I recall releasing the IPCC report, a special report on extreme weather events, way back when, more than a decade ago, when I was the vice chairman of the NDMA. And even those days, it was confirmed that the increase in extreme weather events is going to be the new normal, and in this kind of high intensity rainfall that we have been experiencing, this is something that is going to be the new normal, and we need to be planning for these kind of things. We have these every state, the national level also, we have a national disaster management plan. At the state and district levels, there has to be a serious assessment about the efficacy of these plans. What are the shortcomings? And every event has to be. There are lessons to be learned every time we face situations like this. This is the extreme weather events is going to be a very big challenge, and we need very serious thinking on this. You look back, Japan is one of the most prepared countries in the world. That universally everybody agrees. But then what happened to Fukushima in 2011, when there was a triple disaster and the Fukushima nuclear power plant was badly affected? The embankments there, the tsunami walls were constructed to a height of about 14 meters, and because that is something they thought that would be sufficient, and going by the past experience. But then it turned out that it was not sufficient. So this kind of a challenge is going to be there when Japan faces challenges like this. India, certainly, we have our own geophysical features, entire country, both urban areas and the rural areas. Urban areas, I wish to mention that because of rapid urbanization, we have runoff coefficient goes up to almost 95%. I had led the efforts to come out with the national guidelines on management of urban flooding. This is something that needs to be seriously taken note of by all the states. And rural side, the flooding in the rural context, in the large extents of areas get flooded. The local rainfall is one factor. Then the inflows in a state like Assam with the topography, the geographical conditions, geophysical conditions there. Brahmaputra being a huge river, we need to take a serious note of the experience that we have. It's going to be increasing. The frequency is going to be increasing of such events, and the focus has to be on saving lives. And we have seen in the past that enough preparedness actions by the state governments has been responsible for reducing the number of deaths, the casualties, and also loss to property. We have to build infrastructure that is going to be resilient with these high intensity extreme rainfall events, and the critical infrastructure has to be particularly taken care of, and every year we will be facing such events, and we will have to learn lessons and revise our disaster management plans on a regular basis to ensure that better actions are contemplated and better planning is done. One thing one has to understand. Mr. Krishan very rightly mentioned we don't have the right kind of drainage system. They are not maintained, whether it is in the rural areas or even in the urban areas. I recall that going back to about 35 years, we had a huge cyclone along the Andhra coast, which suffered very badly. And thereafter, a mitigation project was implemented with the World Bank assistance. And today, the drainage system along the Krishna and Godavari basins has improved to such an extent that it has reduced flooding to a great extent, and also increased the crop yield because of better drainage, which is also important. So mitigation is going to be something that we need to be very carefully looking at. It's not just reconstruction, prevention, preparedness, and the most important thing is mitigation. When I first joined the Disaster Management Authority as a member, way back in 2005, what we learned at that time was every dollar spent on mitigation can save you $5. 10 years later, when I quit the Disaster Management Authority as the vice chairman, this figure had gone up to about $20. So even today, if we make a correct assessment, the money spent on mitigation, prevention and mitigation will certainly give us a lot of dividends, and this needs for careful planning. And Government of India, recently the Honorable Home Minister had also reviewed the flood preparedness. The states also need to be proactive. Assam is a chronic flood-prone area. I have been to Assam several times. Urban flooding, riverine flooding of this kind that we are experiencing now is not new, and we need to improve our plans to ensure that more of mitigation. Whenever there is a disaster, the event when it happens, the rescue relief, everybody focuses on it, but the real focus has to be in preparedness and mitigation, and more effective functioning of the state disaster management authorities. I've seen that state disaster management authorities very often are not functional because not effectively functioning. There has to be a full-time setup, people who can man this, and on a regular basis. It's not just rescue and response centric approach that we need to put in place. We need a holistic approach, and then certainly preparedness, prevention, and mitigation should be the key to all our planning and disaster management efforts in the days to come.
Good points there, sir. And in fact, Mr. Mithru, taking a leaf out of what sir said, when you talk about, these floods as being the new normal, have we really adjusted to this new normal, or are we using the old normal to deal with the new normal? And obviously, there are going to be anomalies if that kind of distinction continues, sir.
First, I would like to thank Mr. Reddy that I've had the first incident to interact with an authority from the NDMA, which I've been wanting to for a long time. Sir, my question to you directly is, you have mentioned, number one, reactive and proactive. You see, we are, to my mind, we are still reactive to any disaster, be it earthquake, be it flood, be it fire, anything. When will we become proactive? What I'm trying to say is that unless we follow the NDMA guidelines, policy-wise or plan-wise, planning right up to the district and taluk level, I think we will not be proactive. Number one. Number two, you have just mentioned that you have found that state disaster management authorities are not fully functional. Sir, in this, I'm sure you will be able to sound my voice somewhere in the authorities. My total understanding of the whole thing is that very rightly you have said the state disaster management authorities, whether it be Assam or it be in UP or Bihar or anywhere, unless the job is given to a dedicated authority, we will still find loopholes and lacunas. What I'm trying to say is the commissioner is the chairman of the disaster management committee at all levels, district and etc. A chief minister sits as the chairman of a disaster management authority, things like that. What I'm trying to say is, why can't we have a disaster management authority at the central level, a ministry like function? When Sri Lanka has a disaster management ministry, Bangladesh has a disaster management ministry, Nepal has a disaster management ministry, Pakistan has a disaster management, Burma has it. Why India is adamant upon giving the disaster management job to the revenue department? And when the district magistrate becomes the chairman of the local disaster management authority, he has piles and piles of his own work which is pending. We hear statistics that so many million cases, legal cases are pending with the district magistrate, and you think that he can be seriously involved in working on disaster management authority? Will he be, when he is not able to complete his own job, you have added him with added responsibility of disaster management. Here, sir, we lack the will to do, is my understanding. Next thing, very important thing, which I want to address to you is, Like also Mr. Pradeep has said, that my question was not answered earlier. Dredging of the rivers, I have yet to hear the dredging has been carried out. There is perpetual deposit of silt in all the rivers all over the country, but no dredging takes place. Take, for example, Delhi Yamuna, or take, for example, in UP, Bihar, and of course, Brahmaputra. No dredging takes place. The advantage of dredging will be that we will lower the level of riverbed. At the same time, the silt which is collected from the riverbed will serve as embankment to raise the embankment of the river. Therefore, you will prevent a perpetual flooding. Now, these are in the cities, in the metropolis, in the urban areas, we hear that the cleaning of drains starts only in the month of June. The rest of the time it's forgotten. Why, sir? Why? This is an ongoing job and nobody bothers about it. We have to attack the root rather than be reactive to any disaster, is my submission.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.